Hello there, my name is Mystic, and welcome back to my channel. So if you've never seen me before, I'm normally an educational stream content person. I've also posted my gaming clips onto my shorts, but I actually am normally a Twitch streamer. So this feels a little funny, but I'm here to give you guys some tips on Aska. If you are a beginner or you're looking into getting the game, I've been playing it for almost 2 weeks now, and I have about 130 hours in it. And you might think, how have you managed that? That is because I was sick for the first week that I started playing, so I literally didn't have anything better to do. And I decided I had enough energy to play this, and I really wanted to, experience the game, figure things out, try it out, and give you my opinion on it. I actually did some streams already of the game for anybody who watches my content over there, and it's been a lot of fun to just have a world on stream and play that. But I'm here to give you some tips today, as I said. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so my first tip for you in this game is don't be afraid to start again. I know that might seem a little silly to be the very first tip I have, but I personally, in this world, for example, this is my 5th one, I think. I decided to make this because I wanted to try out a world that was right next to a mine, and it's actually been quite a lot of fun. Some people might think it's a little bit too easy, and I completely respect that. If you want to have more of a challenge and build farther away from that, that's entirely up to you. But for me, I wanted to try it out. So this is what my village looks like, in case anyone's wondering. But yeah, don't be afraid to start anew once you've learned some things about the game and be like, hey, I want to experience this all over again. Or maybe you didn't like how you did your first winter. You can just start again when you learn new things. It's actually quite helpful. Secondly, something really important to be aware of. Oh, of course, as soon as I sit down, okay, well, rude. Something very important to be aware of in this game is villager happiness. I actually got quite confused about it when I first started to play. But the main thing to know is you want people to stay happy, because otherwise they will simply leave your village if their happiness level reaches 0. In the very beginning, when you first start, people will complain about lack of defenses. They'll complain about a lot of things, actually, until you've sorted them out. The best way to deal with that is actually not by walls at first, but you want to set up things like barracks, for example. I have some of them set up around my village. Let me show you on the map, as soon as it doesn't have a stroke. Actually, you know what? I think I can't show you with the UI off. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. So, in my village, I have currently 1, 2, 3, and 4, technically, barracks. The archery range counts as 1, because, it does the same function. And in this range that you see that shows up, everything that's within that, like for working spaces and living spaces, people feel protected because of it. So it's actually quite helpful to have those nearby where your people live so that they don't have sleep anxiety, and where they work so they don't have work anxiety. And if you deal with both of those, they will feel better and for the most part will be happier. The next important thing to think about when it comes to villager happiness is their food. Villager happiness is quite directly connected to their tier, as well as the tier of food that they're eating or that they want to eat. So as villagers level up their skills, they will level up in tier once they reach proficiency levels. And so a tier 1 food, for example, is going to be what a tier 1 villager goes for. A tier 2 is going to be what a tier 2 villager goes for if it's available, and so on and so forth up to tier 4. Villagers can get unhappy if they do not have the food tier that fits them. So, if you have a villager that's up to tier 3... Hello? Okay. Anyways, if you have a villager that is up to tier 3, for example, they will be unsatisfied with the food currently available to them, which will show up in your settlement menu. If you do not have food that is at least tier 3. I think they will absolutely go for their tiered food, but if they can't find it, they'll go for the next tier up. I remember there was previously a bug where they would go straight for the highest tier food. I can't remember if that's been fixed, but I did hear about it at one point. My third tip is being aware of improved buildings and upgraded buildings. I did not know this initially, but when you collect things like thatch from the reeds, you get like seeds for it, and you also get like pine cone seeds from collecting sticks and such. I didn't realize that you actually could plant those. You just need a tier 2 farm. I felt really silly. I was like, wow, why do I have all these reed seeds when I can't even plant them? This seems like an oversight. No, it was an oversight by me. You need a tier 2 farm, and then oh, we have a little bit too much thatch right now. All right. But yes, anyways, so provided you have a leveled up farm, you can start growing, you know, your own thatch, your own sticks. That's what I have going on over here right now. And it's quite helpful, especially because in my experience personally, my villagers do not quite understand how to collect thatch from a shoreline or a lake. So it's just better if you're growing it yourself, in my opinion. Also, some people may consider this spoilers. I didn't personally know about this when I first started, so if you do, just be aware. This is a tinkerer's table, and you get it from upgrading your metalworker. I had no idea that that's where you got this, but this is where you study stuff that you get from, like, the enemies that drop, like the special weapons that have that blue background. Some of them say you can learn more about this at a tinkerer's. What are you doing? My guy! Why are there two of them? Oh my, what is happening? Hello? I don't even know how to explain what just happened. I don't worry about it. Anyways, point is, tinkerer's table, very helpful. Same concept. I didn't have this until I upgraded my metalworker. So just be aware that you need to upgrade buildings, and also, side tip, you need to make certain buildings first, or certain add-ons first, before you can make other things. There's a big deal of prerequisites in this game. I've personally never played a game like this that's a colony sim as well as a survival game, so I didn't actually have any experience with that before I played this. So the building mechanics did confuse me a lot when I first started. And back to something that I mentioned in the very beginning of the game, or very beginning of the video, excuse me, my fourth tip is to find and locate a mine, also known as an unexplored cave, when you first start before you settle down, if you want to. I find this to be much more helpful because then it's not a guessing game of, do I have to make an outpost or not? It's very helpful to find one. If you don't want to build close to it, you don't have to. If you think that's too easy and you want more of a challenge, as I mentioned, entirely valid, entirely up to you. I personally wanted to see what it was like to build right next to one. What I can tell you is that the, spoilers, crawler spawn come out of this and attack my guys pretty frequently because my miners get spooked. Thankfully, that's why I put an archery range here, so that whenever they do come out, they get pretty easily shot by my... Whoa! Why are we shooting people in the butt cheeks? Guys! My villagers are interesting. Let's put it that way. And my last and final tip for you is something that I actually learned from another creator who makes Aska videos. His name is Sir Bucky. I specifically learned this... What is happening? Sorry. Anyways, I specifically learned about this while I was just watching videos online on YouTube and discovered this very, very helpful trick. So when you are making food, once you finally have a cooking hut, whether it be the first version or the second version of it, you're going to potentially notice that your villagers keep eating all of the raw food you have, or maybe cooked food if you are making that and trying to save it for making meals, like soups or stews, or even pies once you get that far. And I've discovered a way, thanks to the YouTuber I mentioned, that you can actually stop your villagers from inhaling all of your raw food before you cook with it. So basically, as far as I'm aware, the way that you do it is you make this one warehouse, which has your raw food silos and meat racks or fish racks if you want that too, and you give access specifically to this warehouse, or you give access of this warehouse to the person working at your cooking hut. Then from there, you give access to your second warehouse worker, where you will put your cooked food storage, you give them access to the cooking hut itself so that they can collect the food that's over here. Only they can collect the food. So you need to like explicitly give access to only your warehouse worker and possibly your cook if you want. That might make it easier. See what's happening right now? They're doing it right now, actually. This is perfect. So this warehouse worker just grabbed the food that was cooked and they brought it over to the cooked food storage. Everyone has access to this cooked food storage warehouse. That way they can't eat all of the raw ingredients because that was happening a lot, actually. So yeah, that stops them from inhaling the raw food ingredients. My god, it gets dark quickly. But yes, that stops them from inhaling the raw food ingredients before my cook is able to cook with them, and that helps a lot. So if you want to set that up, it's pretty easy. As I mentioned, you have one warehouse where your cooked stuff, or rather your raw food is, that your cook will cook with. You give access to that warehouse, obviously your warehouse worker, and then your cook. The cooking hut itself is given access. You give access to your cook if you want, and also the person working in the second warehouse. Everyone has access to the second warehouse, and the second warehouse has the cooked food storage. That means that, you know, nobody can eat this, it gets cooked, and then your warehouse worker moves over to here with the food, and then anybody can grab this at any time. Very helpful. Alright, those were my 5 beginner tips for you for the game of Aska. If you enjoyed it, feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the video. I am definitely entirely new to this exact form of content, as you may be able to tell from how awkward I am. So apologies on that front, but thank you for sticking around if you have. Again, if you found it helpful, please let me know, and let me know if you have any beginner tips for people in the comments. If you've played this game for a while, or if you have any questions that you want answered, I may be able to help you answer them, or if we have any nice people who show up in the comments, they may sorry, I had a stroke. They may be able to answer questions if you have them. At the very least, I will do my best to, but again, thank you. I do hope to do like a little maybe walkthrough of, you know, the game itself to start to give people a more in-depth understanding of the game. I may also do like some other types of videos about like other tips I have, maybe like more advanced tips, or also some kind of walkthrough. I don't know. I mostly stream, as I said, but thank you so much for sticking around and watching the video. I appreciate it. If you made it all the way through, please leave a comment about your favorite type of food in Aska. Anyways, thank you so much. I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourself. Alright, bye!